I forgot about that movie. It's must be I'm a classically trained musician myself, and I remember seeing that movie and feeling what it was, empathizing as a man to have, the character played by Holly Hunter. She has her voice taken from her. She not only does she not speak physically, but her, mentioned in this movie, her voice as a pianist is taken away from her. And I know Harvey Keitel kind of plays a version of like a Maori Beethoven. I just remember that wild shock of hair. But it is, I think, one of the great lessons of, if you are in a situation or a relationship where you don't have your true voice, that is not the place for you. And, fortunately for the lead character of the pianist, all ends well. But our scripture this morning comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things. My words this morning aren't going to be so much of a sermon as they are a Dharma talk. And I love this word Dharma. Dharma, the eternal and inherent nature of reality regarded as a cosmic law underlying right behavior and social order. Who'd have thought that the perfect word to describe what we do here and why we're here could be found in the ancient Hindu Vedas? And when people ask me, Brian, so what's this church of yours like? I really wish I could just inhale sweetly and say Dharma. But I don't, because they wouldn't get it. My friends already think I'm kind of weird enough as it is. But listen again, Dharma, the eternal and inherent nature of reality regarded as a cosmic law underlying right behavior and social order. It's a pastoral prayer right there in a nutshell. The divine comprises everything that is natural and true. Let us behave in accordance with it, which will accordingly align the world around us. But what has that got to do with love? Love, love, love. Because looking back at the scripture, we find our poor Apostle Paul once again trying to unite his broken congregation of Corinth. It's fractured, a lot of infighting. Now Corinth was the home of the ancient temple of Aphrodite, goddess of sensual love and pleasure. It is said that 1,000 prostitutes actually operated out of her temple. And Corinth was considered cosmopolitan in its time. Theological writer Rob Westbrook describes it as the Las Vegas of the Roman Empire. So you've got this new religion struggling to take hold in Sin City, with the actual congregants still very much wedded to personal pleasure and profit. And he's trying to use love, the very ethos of Aphrodite, as a carrot, if not a stick, to see things differently, very differently. Love is patient and kind. It does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with truth. Love bears all things, believes all things. In his own dharmic way, Paul is trying to realign the social order of his new church by instilling right behavior. But first, he must convince them that the love connecting everything isn't one of pleasure and indulgence, but a higher love. Now, we metaphysicians, we get this, we live this. So what I'm really describing this to, one, give some historical context before I, two, give a modern and immediate personal perspective on how love needs to hold a prominent place during times of conflict and strife, but perhaps not the way one might think. And with Paul having defined a spiritually healthy love, I want to turn to what the master teacher called the second greatest commandment. Love your neighbor as yourself. Now, metaphysically, this is much a statement of law, of natural divine law, as it is a commandment. How we love our neighbors is a reflection of how we truly love ourselves. The law of correspondence assures us that our capacity to love others shall not, cannot, will not exceed our capacity to love ourselves. Our capacity to love ourselves shall not exceed our capacity to love others. It's just natural law. Everything in duality, everything in balance. So when I think about love dharmically, I understand that for the greater good of my own personal good order, good social order, there are underlying right behaviors that I have to carry out upon myself. And when I find myself stressed or conflicted with things beyond my control, that means somehow I've touched upon conflict within myself. And this awareness is not permission to retreat inward, but it is a reminder that we will never successfully confront the external if we ignore or neglect the internal. And there are many and effective ways to do this, but taking a page out of Paul's letter, I want to focus on love, because of all the spiritual powers we have, it is the greatest, according to Paul. Not just my words, but Paul. And I do agree. He lists the three: faith, hope, and love. Pistis, elpis, agape. Specifically, agape, that form of love, according to Paul, which is translated as unconditional love. So great and so powerful. And yet, how successful are we with administering it upon ourselves? Unconditional love. How successful, how good are we at administering unconditional love upon ourselves? As we contemplate the eternal and the inherent nature of reality, we know that agape is its fundament. So for Dharma, at the personal level, by that I mean applying the principles of Dharma upon ourselves, the right action has to do with giving ourselves unconditional love. And that ain't easy. At some point early in our lives, we learned we were not good enough. In some way, we weren't good enough. And eventually, unconsciously, as we grew up to be responsible, independent adults, we took over that job, identifying how we fall short before someone else can. Later, we're going to spend some time in right action toward ourselves. And if you look at the bulletin, we're going to spend some time in right action towards our bodies, our emotional selves, our intellects, and our spiritual selves. These are the four consciousnesses that we use to interface in this incarnation, in this lifetime, that we use to interface with the world and the experience we decided to have before we arrived. My hope is that this will not be a one-time gift, but something you continue to give yourself in the days ahead. Now, I am sure, again, you noticed the 4 blank Valentines tucked into your bulletin, and I think everybody's got 4. So if you look, at those of you at home, this is the time to grab your 4 Post-it notes and a pencil or a pen. So if you look at the bulletin, we're going to meditate on the 4 levels of consciousness. And you can just, I don't have music for you, so you can just participate. Good. Oh, yeah, I don't need you to play. Okay, so yeah, just do it. Yeah, you'll participate in the exercise. I've got music. So, and you'll meditate on the 4 levels of consciousness. And these are the 4 ways, as I said earlier, we experience this life through the body, the emotional self, the intellect, and our highest spiritual self. So just to kind of get us in this spot, I want you to close your eyes. We're going to do a little bit of box breathing. You know I'm a big fan of that. So just close your eyes, set it to your hands for the moment, unburden yourself for the moment, and box breathing. So we're going to breathe through the nose. And on the exhale, I want you to not purposefully exhale. Just relax and let the exhale happen. Let the body exhale, right? So here we go. Just follow my count. We're going to inhale through the nose for a count of 4. Inhale and hold it. Exhale, let it go. Hold the emptiness. Inhale through the nose. Inhale and hold it. Exhale and hold the emptiness one last time. nose. Hold the fullness. Exhale. Now breathe regularly and freely. Now, as you're breathing, I want you to envision a beautiful place of your own creation. Only you are here. This place exists only for you. Now, take a look around. Examine this beautiful, perfect, sacred space you have created for yourself. Notice your posture. Notice the expression on your face. This is the totality of all that is you, your body, your emotions, your intellect, your spirit, all four independent, yet harmonizing to create the unique being, which is you. Now, in the privacy of this perfect sanctuary, I want you to invite these four selves to each reveal themselves. The body you already know, it's been faithfully carrying you through this world. So I want you to say quietly, welcome, body. But your emotional self, the embodiment of all your feelings since you were born, not just today, but every age, invite your emotional self to stand beside your physical self. How it appears is up to it. Take a look at your emotional self. Regard it. And say quietly to it, welcome, emotional self. Now the intellect steps forth, analyzing, categorizing, evaluating the experiences of the body and emotional self. It remembers, it plans, it learns. Invite the intellect to come forth. How it appears is up to it. Regard your intellect and say to it quietly, welcome, intellect. And now your highest spiritual self, the divine spark that is uniquely you, sourced from infinite intelligence. It is perfect. It is perfect love. Invite your highest spiritual self to reveal itself. There it is before you, standing next to the body, intellect, and emotions. There it is. Regard it in its gloriousness and say quietly, welcome, my spirit. Now, approach the body. There it is, carrying us through the world, taking it all in for us to enjoy, to learn, to grow. Identify in your mind now. Think of the ways the body enhances this life of yours. Take a moment. Think of those things. When you're ready, thank the body for all it has been doing and does and will do. When you're ready, say thank you, body. How did it respond with your gratitude? How did it respond to your gratitude? Now I want you to ask your body, what do you need from me? It could be today, it could be for all time, for the weeks ahead. Ask your body and listen to it. What do you need from me? When you have your answer, quietly say, thank you, body. And take a slow breath through your nose, and on the exhale, open your eyes. If you're still doing the exercise, keep doing it, but when you're ready, grab one of those hearts, and on one side, I want you to write the things you thanked your body for. And on the other side, write what it needs from you. And when you're done, set that heart aside and go back to that sacred space. Do some box breathing on your own. Go back to that sacred space. Your breath has transported you back to this beautiful, perfect place where your 4 cells have been waiting. Now, approach your emotional self. The emotional self has the capacity of every age you are and have been. No matter your current age, you still get to be 1-year-old, 2 years old, 3 years old. Think of all the blessings of each of those ages. 4 years old, 5 years old, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What are the blessings of those ages? Those children, those emotional children, they're still with you. You still have that capacity of those blessings. Look at your emotional self. What age is your emotional self? Is it younger? Is it older? The same age? Call to mind some of the beautiful qualities of your emotions, your emotional selves. Thank your emotional selves for these qualities, how it has enhanced your existence, has empowered, has enabled your journey in this lifetime. When you're ready, say thank you, emotional self. Take a note of how it responded. When you have, now, ask your emotional self, what do you need from me? get your answer, quietly say, thank you, emotional self. Take a slow breath through your nose, exhale, come back to the physical, grab a heart, and on one side, write all the things that you thanked your emotional self for, and on the other side, write what it needed from you. When you're done, of course, set the heart aside, do some breathing, and go back to your perfect sanctuary. And now, there standing before you, among the four, return to the intellect. Source of curiosity, giving voice to our feelings and dreams, calling to mind, call to mind some of the powerful qualities of your intellect. Thank your intellect for those powers and those gifts. When you're ready, say thank you, intellect. Noting how did it respond. When you're ready, ask your intellect, what do you need from me? When you have your answer, quietly say, thank you, intellect. Take a slow breath through the nose, and on the exhale, return to the chapel, right on the heart. The things you thanked your intellect for, on the other side, what it needs from you. When you're done, set that heart aside, go back to your breathing, and return to that space. vision of these four: the body, the emotional self, the intellect. Finally, standing before you is your spiritual self, your spirit. Perfect, complete, as it always has been. It's always been there, and it will always be there. No words are needed. No words are needed as you behold your spirit. Let your face right now express just what this awareness of your spirit means, what it means to behold your perfect, complete spirit. And ask your spirit for a message. It can be anything. It can be general or it can be focused. Ask your spirit for a message. When you receive it, say, "Thank you, Spirit." Come back to the chapel. And on that heart, write the message. On the other side, write how it felt to behold your spirit. Hidden there underneath years of human struggle, this may have been the first time you've seen it in its totality. When you're ready, take up all four hearts and press them over your heart chakra. We've got a few more minutes. Take your time. Breathe deeply through the nose, all the way down to the bottom of our energy centers, to the bottom of the chakras. Here we are in this beautiful place where the four selves stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, an integral part of you. But it's time for them to rejoin, to recompose the perfect and unique creation that has always been you. Look at your body, smile, and say warmly, "Welcome home, body." And as you do, reintegrate it, bring it back inside of you. And now, behold your emotional self. Smile and say, "Welcome home, emotional self." Allow it to come back inside. Now address the intellect. Smile and say, "Welcome, intellect." Once again, embrace it into your wholeness. Finally, standing before you is your spirit, perfect, complete. It has always been there, and it will always be there. One more time, let your face show. Show it with your face. Show your spirit what this truth of its existence, of its constant present, means to you. The message has been received. Let it come back inside you. As it completes the totality of you, feel the richness and fullness of this present life. One last time, say gently to the completeness of you, thank you. Take one more breath deeply and slowly through your nose. And on the exhale, open your eyes. Or just stay in the room with your eyes closed. Go ahead and sit in this feeling, in this presence, while I read a poem by Stephen Taylor called The Core. It can take a whole lifetime to become yourself. Years of feeling adrift and alone, acting in a role you were never meant to play, stammering in a language you weren't meant to speak, wearing clothes that don't fit, trying to pass yourself off as normal, but always feeling clumsy and unnatural, like a stranger, pretending to be at home, knowing that everyone can sense your strangeness and resents you because they know you don't belong. But slowly, through years of exploration, you see landmarks that you recognize, hear vague whispers that seem to make sense, strangely familiar words, as if you had spoken them yourselves, and ideas that resonate deep down, as if you already knew them. And slowly your confidence grows and you walk faster, sensing the right direction, feeling the magnetic pull of home. And now you begin to excavate, to peel away the layers of conditioning, to shed the skins of your flimsy false self, to discard those habits and desires that you absorbed until you reach the rock solid beneath the shining molten core of you. And now there's no more uncertainty. Your path is clear, your course is fixed. This bedrock of your being is so firm and stable that there's no need for acceptance, no fear of exclusion or ridicule. Everything you do is right and true, deep and whole with authenticity. But don't stop. This is only the halfway point, maybe even just the beginning. Once you've reached the core, keep exploring but more subtly. Keep excavating but more delicately. And you'll keep unearthing new layers, finding new depths, until you reach the point that is no point, where the core dissolves, and the rock solid melts like ice, and the self loses its boundaries and expands to encompass the whole. A self even stronger and truer because it's no self at all. A self you had to find so that you would lose it.